Hello everybody. As I'm sure there's at least a few of you out there, I love AV equipment, particularly older or more commercial grade AV equipment. The new stuff just really doesn't cut it. Now, unfortunately, I'm at a position where I don't have the room for a lot of it, so it really has to be only the top of the line stuff that would pique my interest enough for me to actually have it. Unfortunately, that stuff is usually very expensive. Which, much to my amazement, when they were giving away some DVD VCRs at work, and one of them happened to be this. This is a Toshiba. The model number skips me, which is perfect. But it is a DVD VCR, and it looks like pretty much just any other one that you'd expect it to look like. But this one's actually quite special. Not only is it this is a DVD recorder right here. But, and this is the big thing, it has HDMI, and it has HDMI out on everything, but it also has quite another bit of nice features. So, of course, we have the left-right stereo audio. We have a DV in. That would be Firewire, I imagine. I've never used it. But it's there if I need it. And then on the back, this thing really isn't that heavy, we have a lovely card of ports that any modern flat screen TV probably wouldn't have, so it's nice to have it on the back here. And I believe this is also digital antenna input and output, at least input. I'm not so sure about output. But of course we have over here is what everybody wants, the HDMI out. And yes, like I said, VCR, everything goes over HDMI out, just like all this other stuff. You can connect it to any output and you'll see it, because I actually have a commercial grade, I think it's a JVC DVD VHS player that it does not have HDMI out. A lot of the outputs are only for the DVD player. You cannot see the VCR, which I find to be really quite lame. But we have a problem with this. It does not read DVDs. When you turn it on and you have the thing open, it spins a little bit, but it always comes back with a no disk error. And I think I actually found out what's wrong, because I really can't find anything else out wrong. And I have the parts to fix it, and I figured I'll take y'all along for this ride. Hopefully it works. If not, if anybody has any suggestions for me, I'd love to hear it, because this is actually a quite highly sought after player, which, like I said, understandably. So anything with VHS and HDMI seemed to be quite crazy, which I get. I really do get, because this really is a nice thing I can set in my entertainment center, and it does pretty much everything. So let's start taking it apart. I think it actually is... I'll not talk while I have that going. I think it actually is the ribbon cable for the DVD player. Unfortunately, despite its best efforts, it's quite a fairly cheaply made player. Nothing really special going on with it. It's not like it was made with the gold from China or whatever. Alright, and here it is open. A bunch of ribbon cables going to this one board over here, which it has the HDMI out, but I believe this is also the controller for the DVD player as well. Since I've learned this does not work if this player does not work if this board is not in. It's also interesting to note that there's a bunch of screw holes, at least 2 screw holes here that don't line up to anything, so it leads me to believe that this is a really off-the-shelf piece that they would have used at least in a couple of different boards, or a couple of different players. So, we do have to start taking this out. And then let's just start unplugging everything. Fortunately, there aren't too many plugs in here, so they just kind of slide out, and it kind of makes sense where they go back in. And if you haven't noticed, yes, there is a fan in here, because I imagine this early HD encoding and decoding equipment gets quite hot. I really haven't had this on for any appreciable amount of time, but I guess I'm sure if I did, we'd see it. But yeah, there's our precious HDMI port. And right here is the DVD player right here. It'd be cool if it was Blu-ray. I think that's actually the only screw. And that's right. This just barely fits. Alright, let's see if it'll come out now. It's shoved. Nope, no, we have another screw. It's been a couple of days since I've taken this apart. So, that's probably why I expertly don't remember how to do it. Because like I said, I've done this before. Alright. There's quite a bit of circuitry in here. I'm really quite impressed. Like I said, since this otherwise, unfortunately, is a really quite cheap player. Alright, so I'm going to have to start taking off some of this other stuff, but if you notice, let me see if I can find it. It's this ribbon cable right here. It is broken somewhere right there. Can you see that? That pin on the end is broken. Now, normally I'd be like, oh no, where do I get another one of these? But fortunately, China and eBay both make things quite easy to find and quite cheap as well, because I was able to actually find an exact replica of this ribbon cable. Unfortunately, I had to buy 5 of them, and they had to come from China, but it was only about $5. So that means if these don't work, or if I were to like wreck one of these again, I have more. And like I said, if this just doesn't work, then it's like, you know, hey, only out about $5. But yeah, this is the same cable right here. Yes. I even got the special kind where the ends are reversed, because that's how this cable is. Not bent in that special way that it is, but that'll be alright. So there's the other end of the cable, and you can see in there's the laser diode. Probably should have paid a little more attention as to where it was going, but such is life. See, there's the that's an exact replica of this. Alright, so I have it in there. No, I don't. Now I have it in there. And now it's just the opposite of disassembly is reassembly, and we'll see if this fixes it or if it doesn't. Alright, that's back in. Now I guess it's time we start putting the assembly back in the player. Alrighty, now it's time to reassemble all the cables. Hoping everything plugs back in right. I'm sure it will. Alright, let's go ahead and get this hooked up to a monitor and see if this has fixed it. Alright, believe it or not, I actually have the remote to this, so let's go ahead and turn it on. And I don't think I left a DVD in here. No. The only thing I have at my disposal for a real playable DVD is this copy of Ready Player One. I honestly just bought this because it was a Blu-ray disc, and I wanted to test and make sure my Blu-ray player on my computer was working. I actually do like the movie. I bought this at the Dollar Tree of all places, a Blu-ray DVD at Dollar Tree, and it didn't mention on the package, but it came with a regular DVD as well. So I guess let's see if it plays. Hey! It did not get this far last time. Check that out. Sweet. All right. Well, I don't want to play too much of this because this is copyright. Probably all of this is copyrighted. I mean, it is all copyrighted material, and I imagine all of it. I guess where I was going at is, imagine every portion of this disc would get me caned, which I really don't want. Man, let me just get a couple more things, and we can do a full demonstration of this. All right, now that I have a VHS tape, we are good to go. So, turning it on, what I find kind of funny is if you go into, I guess if you turn it on, and we're in, I guess, DVD mode, you have this nice welcome splash page, which is pretty much what every DVD player in the universe had, or continues to have, because I think they still make regular DVD players. And just to make sure we are on... See, I know there's a DVD VCR button on this remote somewhere, but there it is right there. We're on DVD mode now, and it's just a blue screen. And even if you press eject, it gives you little notifications as if it was just just a VHS. So I wonder if they intended to use that splash screen as the whole thing, or as the whole DVD mode, and probably decided on later down the road it was just too much work and just went against it. But this is the VHS. We'll go ahead and try that out. The only one I could find. My family didn't throw away all the others, because now is a good time to be able to watch them, since I can hook them up and hopefully even capture them. I have to, imagine, go to VCR mode, and then we can play it. Give it a couple seconds to track. And there's my dad taking a Hi8 camcorder on a roller coaster like a Yutz, and surprisingly not destroying it. In case you don't know, that's the Rebel Yell, now Racer 75 at King's Dominion. But this is back in the Paramount era, and you can tell because this side is backwards. I would have loved to ride that when it was backwards. But, yeah, he only goes about halfway before the camera kicks off, so I wonder if he destroyed it. Or not destroyed it, because it did work for the remainder of the day, but I wonder if it, like, cut off or, you know. Because this is of all the things to not, of all the cameras to not bring on a roller coaster, one of those big clunky Sony Hi8s would definitely be one of them. At least I think so. And there is the Shockwave. I was actually the last rider on that. They had a thing the last day was in operation. If you got a lanyard that said last stand, I'm going to take the last stand, you could be the last rider. I think they actually did have an official last ride for the employees afterwards, but officially, I guess I was what would be considered to be one of the last riders. Alright, well, we don't need to see too much of that. But yeah, so this is the setup menu, really quite simple, surprisingly, but it looks like you can have a still mode on the VCR, which is nice. Actually, if I can figure out how to get out of this. If we were to play the VHS again, I wonder what happens if I were to pause it somewhere. I don't know, I thought it just said still. Let me see if I can adjust that, because yeah, that doesn't look right. Let's try that. No, maybe it just doesn't. Maybe it just doesn't work on that. But you know, this is. It looks like another case of why you shouldn't take a handycam or a camcorder on a roller coaster. Yeah, this is just messy. I don't know where this is, but looks like you can display the settings if you press the display button, but yeah, oh, we can change the language, screensaver, FL dimmer, I think that's this down here, DTV. What is V-chip? I wonder if that has to do with DivX. Which I really don't know what that is. I'm sure somebody is like, you idiot. DivX is this. Progressive. Let's turn that on. Oh, I think that's just for the RGB on the back. I don't actually think that has to do with this. And that's how you can set the video in the rear video in. You can set the clock, although I don't really care because these don't have any real-time clock keeping functionalities if the power goes out. So, you know, if the second the power goes out, you're going to have to reset it again, which is really weird to me. Of all the things they could have put in like one of those 555 clock timers. Is it a 555? Probably not. But one of those little timekeeping circuits just to keep that, because that just really bugs me that you can't do any modification. You know, you can't just it can't just keep its time. Well, there's my registration code. If you want to register it under DivX. Surprised you can't change anything. I guess you can't be doing. I guess you can't change it if you're using HDMI, which doesn't really make sense to me, but. Format. Ooh, VR mode. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll be right back. Let me go get a blank DVD and see if we can. I'm sorry, I won't subject you to that. Let me go get a blank DVD and see if this will actually dub. You never know when a spindle of DVDs is going to come in handy. Although it's kind of a pain to keep them in the first place, but... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's switch to DVD mode. And then eject this. Oh. Yeah, I think this thing's received a lot of hours at work. And it's probably... not got much longer for this world if you were to keep using it the way they probably did. So imagine giving it a nice, easy life now is probably what's best for it. Let's see, is there a dubbing button? What does this HDMI button do? Oh, we can change the resolution. That's 480p. That's 720p. And this is 1080i. I wonder if you can change it to 1080p. Oh, yes, you can. Okay, so it said plus R at the top. Let's see if, and it looks like we have 2 hours that we can dub on this. Let me see if I can figure out how to do that. Let's see here. What's this button do? Nothing. That's Dolby noise reduction, I guess. I don't know if that was encoded, recorded with any sort of noise reduction, so I'm just going to turn that off. Well, I wonder if I just press play. No, that doesn't do anything. Let's see here. Actually, there's a dubbing button right there, but I'm going to actually go back and switch over here. And go back a little bit. Alright, what happens if we press dubbing from here? Well, it seems to be doing it. So I guess we'll come back and see what the end result is. Alright, so I got all the footage that I think I really want. Sure, this is not the whole VHS, and I'm sure I'm wasting a lot of this DVD, but who cares? Did it actually hold all of this stuff in some sort of memory cache? My goodness. Because it did not stop at all. I like that animation down there on the... it's done. Alright, let's see if it actually wrote anything. I don't see why it wouldn't. Yeah, it did. You can see there it is right there. There's a little bit of data that it wrote. I don't see why I wouldn't be able to play it. But we'll expertly wait until my wall clock that auto sets itself is done, having its moment every day that it needs to feel the need to reset itself. Alright, now that we're done with that, I was taking a look at the remote, and yes, there's the dubbing button down there. I really don't like the way this remote is laid out. Like, I feel like there's the buttons that should be more prominent are not very prominent. Also, how much do you want to bet these are the original batteries, and they still work? They don't have that much charge left in them, but that's just crazy. Which I imagine it would be the original batteries. But anyways, and I also took out the tape. It's no longer in the player, so let's see what happens when I press play. And there it is. That is pretty neat. Now, this is not my only dubbing capable player. My original, not my original, the other player that I got from work also does dubbing, but it doesn't have a... it does not have a HDMI out, which is what this has the advantage of having. So that was a bit of a disappointment. I tried putting it into my Windows computer, and when I put it in, it asked me how I want to format the DVD, which is weird because it's already been formatted, but I do see this as an RW disk, so it might actually allow you to rewrite it. But even then, yeah, it's disappointing that it didn't detect it and it couldn't do anything with it. It will be interesting also to see if you can record more to this. I don't see a reason why you couldn't. on, I'll wait for it to load up. Alright, let's see here. Dubbing. Well, I guess you can. I don't know if it's... I imagine it's not overwriting what's on there. More so it's adding to... Well, actually, we haven't started dubbing yet. Remember, we're just in the capture phase, so I imagine when I stop it, I imagine it will just copy it to what's left over, the leftover space on the disk, because I think we have, what, 2 hours that we can record onto this, which is pretty neat. So you're not wasting a whole disk if you only need to add a little bit at a time, but even then, I mean, if you can't read it from a Windows computer, it's kind of like, what's the point? Because that's the only thing I would really want to do this, but realistically, I'm sure capturing it over HDMI is quite a bit more efficient, more of an efficient way of doing it. But yep, there it is. That's over the DVD. So yeah, I guess that's really kind of it. I mean, I really don't see what else there could be to demonstrate other than that advanced editing mode, which I don't even know how to use myself. But yeah, I'm happy I was able to fix this player, because yeah, it's really cool that I can record over VHS over HDMI, but you know, having the whole thing working definitely was a plus, and would have been a plus, and looks like it's doing just fine. And yeah, so alright, so I tried making another DVD, because as you can see, this one's almost full. And since there was a more compatible mode in the player's settings, but now I still can't read it on my computer, and VLC can't read it either. I can't imagine it has anything to do with my SATA drive. It could be, but I'm not terribly concerned about it, since that's not a way I would traditionally do it. I would hook a HDMI capture box and record things that way. But just to show y'all, this is the older player that I have. This is the one that's professional grade. As you can see, it says right on the front. These can be rack mounted. As a matter of fact, a lot of them are, or were. I think a lot of these were taken out of service. But like I said, this one is quite a bit more professional, although one big difference is it does not have any HDMI ports in the back. And as I said, a lot of these ports can only be used with the DVD player, such as the component, this output, which has standard RCA out. The only one that you can effectively see the VCR with is these two ports, the S-Video and this BNC connector, so I actually had to get an adapter for it. But it works. And then this one also has a fan. Not sure when this one, let's see. Oh yeah, this one was manufactured in 2007. This one being manufactured in 2010, so it's a little bit older. And this one also does not have a tuner, but I imagine you wouldn't really need it. But I have it hooked up to this, and yeah, let's give it a go. So it's connected to line 1. That output looks kind of soft. I wonder if it's because this is technically outputting lesser than the resolution of this monitor. This monitor is 2000 something resolution, so it's a little high. No disc, it says. Let's see. Let's change it over to VCR. This one, like I said, also does dubbing. Although the color doesn't look as good, but I think that might just be me. But yeah, that's this one. Actually, I am kind of interested to know if this DVD will play just fine in this player. I'm sure it will. But like I said, I'm not sure why it won't play in my computer. Now reading, it says. So what, was it not, would it not be reading before even though there's a disc in it? Not really sure. I do like this little animation it has on the screen. This thing's making some weird noises. And I'm pretty sure it works. Ah! Look at that. Disk error. Why would this dub a DVD that only it can read? That's really odd. At least that's really odd to me. But I'm not going to play around too much more with this. I just want to see if taking this DVD that we know to work will play. Because like I said, last I checked, these did work. Both of these worked when I got them, and I really haven't done much with this one. Ah. So yeah, it works just fine. The only thing being how this was dubbed. I would be interested to see how this one dubs, but I'll save that for a later video. Alrighty, for real now. That'll be it. Thank you very much for watching.